I popped on. Good morning. Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome. See, I'm not too sure. Hang on. My hair looked differently this morning hey, have you guys ever gone into the mirror and you did your hair, and then a few minutes later you look at your hair and it doesn't look the same way as what it was when you did it this morning? Oh my goodness. It just does something totally different. Oh my God. I'm going to just let it go. Yeah. So here I come on here because this is my actual mirror to see what's going on. Cancels my golf today, waiting to hear Cam's results. Ooh, okay. Yeah. So yeah, just gonna do that. And see, my hair was just all real crazy kinky this morning and still wet. That's the other thing. Here, we'll put it down and see what that looks like. See, this goes to craziness. Whoa. And then the length. Oh my God, I'm becoming Lady Godiva. My hair is getting so long. Only thing, I'm not riding a horse naked through the town. So welcome everybody. We'll go with down hair right now. At least I got the lipstick on, and it is the long weekend. It is the beginning of a long weekend. And so this is what I did, because the beginning of a long weekend, for years, I worked at Starbucks, and the long weekend was always the time of frappuccinos. Like frappuccinos, I was there. Come back with me in time. At Starbucks when they first started to introduce frappuccinos and starting to make frappuccinos. So totally different than how they make them now. Totally different process, a whole bit, and how we had to do it and double brew the Italian and make it. So it was it was just a whole different ball game in creating the frappuccinos back then. And so this is sending dollars, grab a frappuccino. So making frappuccinos was like, we knew the May long weekend in Penticton, that was when it began, right? And sometimes during that season, like it was a season, like you had a frap season, and it wasn't introduced until that weekend, right? And this is the weekend everybody went out to go buy plants, to go do everything, to really start looking at the garden and start looking more into planting and doing your garden and your seeding. So anyways, when that time came, when Frappuccino season came, nobody wanted to work the Frap station, because the Frap station, we called it the Wall of Doom. We knew if you came on shift and someone says grande coffee Frappuccino, right? You know, if you said grande coffee Frappuccino, because we had to call it back, right? It's not like today. Today is so boring. Starbucks, when you go inside, they don't call they don't call back, right? Oh, Dana, thank you. Yes, send donations for my coffee. Yes, thank you. When you back in the day, when I worked at Starbucks, we had to call back the order. So you're on bar, right? If you're on bar, wherever you're working, you had to be making your drink, but still calling that order back. So if you called an iced Venti 5-shot Americano Misto, no water, one sugar in the raw, stirred in, you had to call that back, right? That's what you have to do. And then still make your drinks and everything else, and call out whatever. If you're low on somebody, can somebody bring me back some Frappuccino coffee? We weren't allowed to say frap either. Frap was not allowed on the floor. It is now, but it wasn't back then. And it had to do with registration or whatever it was at the time. But anyways, times change going forward. Such a different way, but it was called the Wall of Doom. Because once you face that wall, because that's where all the blenders were, once you faced that wall, you were never going to turn around. You'll never see light again. And it was the starting of craziness, Frappuccinos, and then the variations from that came. It was quite a different time in making coffee, and coffee we always made from scratch, right? So everything, it wasn't pre-packaged, nothing like that, like it is now, except for the Frap mix. But the coffee was double brewed Italian. So if you guys are wanting to make any iced coffee, don't just brew your regular coffee, double it. Okay, because the ice, when you put your ice into it, it dilutes it. So if you want to get the full flavor of your coffee, make sure that if it's a espresso, an Italian roast, or whatever it is, double brew it. So if you, let's say you put 2 scoops of coffee in your coffee maker, put 4. All right. And then what you can do is that you can brew it, put it in a jug, and then put it in the fridge. Right. And when you're ready, you got it there, and it's good for 24 to 48 hours. And then if you want to, then you can add your ice and your milk and whatever else you want to add to it. And you're still going to get that full coffee flavor. So we're doing Coffee 101 today. So there you go. So going back to my story, because it's the May long weekend, so what I did is that I got my first iced coffee. I don't like to drink iced coffee in the winter because it's winter time. It's freaking cold. Who wants to drink iced coffee? When I was a kid, I made iced coffee from instant coffee. Yeah. Ooh. Sorry, Candace. I'm just like, no. Maybe instant coffee's changed. Actually, Starbucks instant coffee is not, not the same, right? And when I grew up, we didn't have instant coffee we had Sanka. My mom had Sanka once in a while, which was decaf, right? I drink organic reishi mushroom coffee. God bless you, Ashley. Oh, look, okay. Here we go. We got to put that comment. This is what she drinks. We're going to send praises out to her. That's great. I got to tell you one thing is that coffee is my life. Hence the coffee corner. I love my coffee. I've tried the Rishi coffee, right? Coffee's different in us. Oh yeah, it is. I had a friend bring me back a pound of coffee from Australia, and they actually, he sent it, well, he was still there. He sent it back to me, and because he was staying there for a year. And so I sent him a care package and stuff at the time. And I have Italian for the Via strawberry, because they do it differently than, say, Nabob. So the way that they do it. But it was really good. Cuban coffee. I got to say, Cuban coffee is very good too. If you can get a pound of Cuban coffee, it is it's so scrumptious and creamy. Just having it on its own, that's without any cream and sugar. So, coffee corner. Here we go. So, what is going on? Ethiopian coffee? Yes, Ethiopian coffee is not bad. You know what about Ethiopian coffee? Oh God, you guys have got me going. Okay, you want to get nerdy? Okay, Ethiopian coffee, because there's different regions of Ethiopia, depending where the coffee is growing, right? Ethiopia is where the first trees were found for coffee plants, right? So in Ethiopia, you have to actually go through the government in order for you, if you are like Starbucks, to get Ethiopian coffee, they had to do a huge deal with the government in order for them to have it. Now, every region is a little bit different, because the berries or the flowers, when they are growing, will pick up whatever else is being grown around them. So in parts of Ethiopia, you can get an Ethiopian coffee that tastes like blueberries. It is so scrumptious, and it's because it is a darker coffee. It is not a medium roast coffee. Coffees from Mexico, South America are more of a medium brewed coffee, and plus the way that they dry it too. So as the beans are drying, it also incurs different flavors. Also, like if you go to Indonesian coffee, right? Indonesian coffee is very it's a darker one, but it can have a little bit of a earthy flavor, different earthy type of Sumatra coffees or aged Sumatra, where they actually age the coffee in bags, and it is aged there for anywhere between 5 and 7 years. So, and that's aging the coffee, right? And doing the aged coffee. So yeah, so you get different brews from different places and where it's come. Kenyan coffee. This is my coffee scope. I haven't even hit the planets yet. Kenyan coffee, if you get a really like Starbucks Kenyan coffee, tastes like a red wine because it's growing around a lot of grapes and stuff. So it picks up sort of that winey type of flavor to it. So so coffee, when it comes to coffee, there is a different, it's like a wine, right? So when you get into the different flavors and the different essences of wine, you can pick up the different levels of it, right? And that's the same way with coffee. Well, yeah, because it's the way that they brew it, right? And plus, they don't drink it hot. If Dana, if I'm correct, I know friends who are from there, and they don't drink it. They don't like it hot like Americans do. Like we love it, and Canadians love to have a hot cup of coffee. Their coffee is not really hot, like how we like to have it. So it really allows for the different flavors to come through also. So yeah. So that's a big thing too. That makes a huge difference. So that's where Howard got his idea, through the Paris coffee houses and the different coffee houses throughout Europe, to start Starbucks. So hey, get me on coffee. I could talk to you about it for hours. That's how I picked up a client one time. I was in Starbucks, and he came in, and I'm standing behind him, waiting to order. And then he was asking about all the different coffees, and it was actually the manager of Starbucks who was there, and he was kind of stumbling about answering the questions. And I said to him, you got your coffee book? Go grab your coffee book and start giving and give him the information that he's looking for about the coffee, because they have a huge coffee book about all their different coffees. And he kind of looked at me as if to say, how does she know I have a coffee book? But it's the coffee book has all the different, where it's growing and how it's dried, if it's the whole bit, right? So the guy turned around and goes, well, what about this coffee and this coffee? And I actually sold him a bunch of coffee because he was I think he was buying for his wife and stuff. And then we ended up having a conversation, and he asked me what I did. And I sort of like, well, this is what I do now. And I told him. And he sort of asked me about his brother-in-law who died. And we had a convo there, and he goes, well, my wife has to meet you. And he took my card. And since then, they've been clients for me for over 4 years. See the great things you can do at Starbucks. So let's start. Let's begin. Let's begin. Let's begin. Good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining me. For those who are just joining and wondering who this woman is rambling about coffee, my name is Mary June Tracy, psychic medium, spiritual love of life coach, lover of coffee and wine, and astrologer. This is deep reflection, man. This energy that's coming in is a world of shifted inwardness. So we're shifting our inward energies. And with the retrogrades, with this Venus retrograde and with Jupiter retrograde and even Saturn and Pluto, it is really bringing an inward shift. And in that inward shift, it is where we are to see which doors I want to go through. And that's where this energy is coming in. It's this shifting that's coming, but it's a very internal one, which is beautiful because this is coming into a new moon. And the new moon that's going to be coming into Gemini next week. So that is an internal one too. But what brings it into even deeper depths is that of Venus and Jupiter. I mean, they are our benefics. They are the ones that bring us that. And it's about where and what. And the South Node, which is in Sagittarius, is at 29 degrees. So remember, the nodes go opposite. They go clockwise, and the planets go counterclockwise. All right? So they're going clockwise. So they start at 29 degrees or at the back end of a sign, and then they move all the way up to 0 degrees. So they're at 29 degrees, very coming close. 27 degrees is the galactic point in Sagittarius. And they're kind of like where and what. But to get the factual, you have to go to the higher end, which is Gemini. And where do the signs point to? What is pointing? The signs, and the thing is that Saturn or Sagittarius signs, the signs, information doesn't necessarily come from Sagittarius. Sagittarius is a direction, right? A direction. I'm directing. I am shooting my arrow in that direction, and that's where I'm going. So Sagittarius is a direction. So when we're looking for signs, they come from Pisces and Gemini in a way of messages and spiritual messages, numbers, all sorts of things. So when we're looking for messages, they're coming from the energies of Pisces. And where's the moon today? It's in Pisces. Where's Mars? In Pisces. So there's information that is coming to us, right? It's coming to us. But do we want to take that information? Do we want to open ourselves up to that information? And Mercury has an alignment with Chiron. And Chiron is in Aries. So this is going to be, might be bringing in a little bit of funkiness, a little bit of weirdness, but this is about identity of what you think it should look like. This is about looking at things and getting that identity. And the signs are pointing us here, and it's a very emotional one. There's a lot of emotion that's coming up this weekend and pulling us to that moon with Mars. And they're in Pisces right now, okay? So the moon is in Pisces. We have Mars is in Pisces, and it's going to be there for a while. So it's getting us to come into this energy, come into this awareness, and it's kind of weird. It's kind of a weird, and we can go into many different places because Neptune is there too. So you got to remember Neptune is there. We can listen to our direction, and we can step to it, right? There's a knowingness that's coming in that we just know. It's a calling of our truth. But are we going to accept it? Are we going to accept that direction? Are we going to accept that way of where we want to go? And this is not to be afraid. Don't be afraid of it. But the thing is that maybe we are, maybe we don't want to. Maybe there's a lot of other funky things that are going on, and we don't want to deal with it. We want to push it away. We want to push it away. Maybe there's a part of us that we want to push it away. And that's that Neptune. So we want to do some escapism. Hence, the cards I pulled, I used the fairy cards. I used my fairy cards, where the first one is the Prince, and they're all summer cards that I pulled out, which is Wands in this deck. So the first one was the Prince of Wands or the Prince of Summer, and it's all about being swept off our feet, but but needing to stay grounded. So very emotional experiences that are coming in for us, wanting to ride it high and go for it, right? But of course, the Four of Wands comes in and it's like, oh, but I'm so tired. And do I really want to do this? Like, oh, this is stupid. A lot of, we're being distracted, or we're failing to see the magical opportunities. And there's a lot of magic in the air. There's a lot of energy that wants to bring things in for us. But we got to knowing your value and your worth about the things, and not worrying about other people's wants and needs. This is about your connection with God. This is about your being with the divine. This isn't about anybody else. This isn't about your husband, your wife, your children. This isn't about your neighbor. This isn't about your coworker. This is about you and your connection with God, because that is personal. That is personal. And this is where we kind of come in and take the time to connect. So important this weekend. A couple weeks ago, and I said when Mercury was in Taurus, there was a connection there. There was a connection with Mercury and Uranus, and they connected. And I said, that is God speaking to you, right? Because Uranus brings in that of the messages and brings in that outer connection, that new connection of the divine. And with Mercury being there, it was wanting to bring us these connections and this information and these signs from God. Now, with him being in Gemini, it's like, well, remember that connection? I was giving it to you. Well, here are the signs. I want to give you these signs, but are we listening? Are we allowing them in our life, or are we ignoring and being fearful of it all? Because that's really, how this energy is coming in. And I feel that's, for me, in the direction I'm going in and what I am starting to do. And that internal talking, I feel like I got a talking to by my guides of stepping into creating a better way of life for myself, a healthier lifestyle, a lifestyle that is going to create more abundance. Now, abundance isn't always money, right? Because everybody says, oh yeah, I want abundance, but they're thinking it's money. But abundance is bringing in health. It's bringing in longevity. It's bringing in creativity and freedom and fun. That's abundance, right? So, yes, money comes in with it, because when you're in that flow, it comes to you. So this is where this energy is coming. It's coming now, but are you listening? And a lot of people don't want to listen to it because they get afraid and they're thinking, oh, I'm not good enough. I can't do that. And I get that. I understand that. But I feel this is coming in. It's like almost where, especially with Venus retrograde. Venus retrograde can be very, very hard. Like, it's because it happens every 18 months, right? But it can be very hard on us because it is one that has us to go to our inner truth, our inner knowingness, our deep soul being, right? Hey, Carrie, thank you for joining me. And that's what it does. It comes into this deep soul being. And many times coming into that deep soul being, we don't want to go into there. We don't want that. And we have the sun coming up in Taurus at 25 degrees, and it's coming up to this fixed star. And there's a fixed star called Albo. Albo is also called the demon star. But this is the whole thing, is that it can be used for whatever purpose that you want. If you want to use it for negativity and stay in that and wallow in all the filth and the disgusting parts of the world, it can amplify that in an instant for you, baby. It can bring it because it's a fixed star. It'll say, wow, you want this? This is what we'll do for you. But it can also be used if you align yourself with your deep power of self, of knowing love. That's what it can bring you. So as this energy of this beautiful star is pulsating onto the earth with the sun, with the sun and this alignment with the earth, right? So we have, it's like for us individually, I'll get into the consciousness. Consciousness is a whole different setup, but coming into that deepness of ourselves. What is it? What does it feel like? Coming into that deep power. And with the moon and Pisces squaring Mercury, this is where you can find where there can be a temporary mental and emotional confusion. So there could be some, confusion that's coming in, that is bringing in a lot of mental doubt, that you are doubting yourself. You're not knowing in your value system. You're not knowing your true value. Because you're feeling that depth, you're feeling that part of yourself. And this is where I really, when I started I'm going to be starting this new journey, and I can already feel myself being pumped up for this, to start off to having a cleaner lifestyle and being able to channel and connect. And when I'm healthy and when I'm feeling good and having, you get that clarity. There's something about the clarity that comes in when you're doing readings. Like when I've gone to an expo, the number one thing I make sure that when I'm at an expo is that I'm eating well, like I'm eating fresh fruits. I'm not eating, I'm not going out buying hamburgers and French fries and stuff like that. I'm not doing that. Drinking lots of water and drinking a lot of electrolytes. So water, like coconut water, things like that, bringing in the electrolytes. And it's because it's important to keep yourself clear. I'm not going out, I'm not drinking. I'm not going, well, I don't smoke, so I don't do that. So, but I'm not going out having wine or anything that night or stuff like that, because you want to be that clear channel. You want to be that energy that brings in that information to be for that person, right? To be that true connection. And also for your own well-being, because if you start to go off and start to, not eating well, you're going to feel it really the next day. You're going to have what we call a psychic hangover, and you're going to feel like shit. Like it's a psychic hangover can be worse than any hangover that you've ever had. And so this is where you want to come into this energy and come into this clarity, right? So that you are able to bring in what you are needing. And that's where this energy is coming in. And this is a constant. This is going to be a constant of bringing you this energy in. And this is about you and God. This is about you and your connection with God, the goddess, the universe. This is you. And allowing yourself to be there, because this is a healing conversation of releasing. And this is where people get uncomfortable. This is where people don't want to hear me. Because when I say that you got to sit and have this healing conversation with God, that means it's like, oh, I don't want it. No, this is where you have to be. This is where you have to be in order to make the changes and to allow for you to bring in the abundance. So many years, I'm not going to talk about, I know I'm healthy. I know I'm this. Like, I didn't want to talk to anybody about my weight. Fuck that. No. When somebody brought up diet or something like that, I kind of shoved it off and I sort of listened, but I didn't really want to get into that conversation because it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to talk about it. It's uncomfortable. It's like somebody who is an addict, right? And because I have a lot of beautiful clients who have been sober for 20 years, 10 years, 5 years, that it is an uncomfortable thing to talk about, because they don't want, first of all, they don't want to be pointed at, oh, you're an alcoholic, you're a drug addict. Nobody does. So when you are saying that I want to eat a healthier lifestyle and get clean, I don't want anybody, oh yeah, you are fat. Yeah, we didn't really want to say anything to you, but you are. I know I'm fat. And I'm using that word because it's a word that gets people like, ooh, overweight. No, I'm fat. I'm on the obese side. And when you admit that, and when you can own that, that's when you can make changes. Same with if I have a shopping addiction, owning it. Yeah, I have issues with shopping or whatever it is. Owning it. That's where this energy comes in. With that Mercury and Chiron, it's coming in and it's making this trine over there, and it's saying we want you to come in, because Chiron is the healer. He is the healer. He wants to bring you forth and say, what do you need healing in your life? Let's begin to talk about it, because we can say, well, it's about, if it's about my self-esteem, I believe, is up here. Like, when we start saying, I need to, love myself more, care for myself. Now let's go down, and we start going down. So in Journey Club, one of the things that we do, and one of the things I get people to do, is ask you why, and getting to the root. And that is the huge piece. Coming down into this energy of looking at why. Why do we do what we do? Why is this all happening? This is where we have to, there's somebody here. I just wanted to see if I can, I don't know. Said I can do this. Oh, he might have gone. Maybe I can't do it on here. Anyway, so I'll do it later. Sorry, just wanted to block somebody. But this is where we come into that grounding piece of why. And this is where we come into that place where we need the healing in the environment, the change, the vibe, the feeling, doing something different. And as the moon is sextiling to Uranus, these are the feelings, and going into a feeling that is different. A feeling that feels good, a feeling that wants to bring you into somewhere different, and going where you're being told. You're hearing this. And Mercury with the moon squaring in Pisces. Trust spirit. Mars is in Pisces. Pisces and Gemini are the two signs that want to bring you information, right? They want to bring you some spiritual information. They want to bring you to a different height, right? But you might be feeling sluggish. So this is what wants to amp you up. And something with that Neptune and Venus square, this can be bringing in something magical, or it can be bringing something that can be, I'm going to say, detrimental, because it can take you to a place that you don't want to go, or a place of escapism, so that you're not facing what it is that you need to be facing or need to be dealing with, because they want to bring magic into your life. And they want to bring in this deepness, but there might be some sort of suppression that you're having. But my message is that be not afraid. Be not afraid. I am with you. Do not be afraid. God, your goddess, your angels, your universe, they're there with you. So do not be afraid. And that this is for you to be and stop, to reflect, because the information is coming in for us all, in order for us to start to look and to create that abundance for us. And that's where this universal energy and the planets are aligning for. And with these spiritual grades. And this is where I feel there's going to be some kind of extreme polarization happening within the consciousness. And there's going to be this energy of polarization is like, and these extremes, and they're just pulling at each other, right? And and trying to, create something. And with Mercury squaring the moon, this is really bringing in some weird value system for some people. It can also bring in a lot of magical beauty. So we got to look at what's distracting, or the distracting stories that are going to be coming out today in the consciousness. And I think there's going to be a lot to do with job, with money, our lives, what it looks like. This is also where a lot of anxiety, I feel there's anxiety that's going to be rising for a lot of people. So really watch your anxiety. Watch how you're feeling about things. This is really being aware. If you are feeling very overwhelmed, there are so many, call a friend. There's so many apps out now that that you can get a hold of mental health workers now too, if you need to get aid in anything, or need to talk to somebody, especially of extreme, if you're feeling that extremeness. It's so important. And we are going to be seeing, I think we got to watch, that you that you're going to find a lot of information. Something is going to come out, but this energy is really, it's going to be triggering us over the next 60 days. So we have this energy of coming in, giving us information, but it can also cause for many of us a lot of extreme anxiety and overwhelmness. So we got to really watch that. We got to watch our own mental health. We got to watch, and we got to make sure that we're taking care of our own selves, which is so important. Because if you're not taking care of your own self, this could bring in, a lot of, we don't want that. Okay. Just saying. So we're going to find, I think, possible mental health rates are going to be coming out, and we're going to be starting to see other things that are going to be coming out about mental health over the next little while, because it's something that needs to be talked about, and especially within the energies that are coming in right now, and because of the lockdown, even though there's some releasements there, but now we got people who might even be paranoid to get out of their house, right? So there's a whole nother level of mental illnesses coming in, or that have been triggered through this. They may have been there. People have been able to work with it, but now it's like this has really triggered some huge mental illnesses for people. So that is stuff to watch out for, and call someone, talk about it, because there could be some real triggers that are going to be coming out over this next while, and especially over the next 60 days for people. And looking at that, the one beautiful part is, like, right now the sun is in Taurus, and the sun wants to bring in stability, and it's trining over to Saturn. So we know trines are good. So it's trining over Saturn to bring us some good things, to bring us some good release, and allow ourselves to release it to bring us to our highest good. So we have some really good positive energy that's coming in. But as I say, sometimes it may not feel that way. Some people might be really triggered, and you got to honor yourself with all of that. Please listen to what your body's saying. If it is feeling overwhelmed, if it is feeling like it's too much, honor yourself. This is a time to really go in and having those private convos with God. That means pulling over to the side of the road, taking a drive, maybe going into a park and just driving and sitting. Bring a journal, put some music on, do some breathing. Because we are coming into some energy that really wants to take us. And I keep on envisioning like a rocket ride, take us out on a rocket ride and take us to a place of transformation for ourselves, and allow ourselves to open up to where we want to start walking towards. And that could be maybe getting a new job. Maybe it is, where you feel like you just need to look for something different, and opening up to that. There was a question that I heard recently, and somebody was saying about light workers' throats being blocked. And I thought that was an interesting question. And I'm like, if you weren't living up to your truth before all of this happened and you feel that your throat chakra is blocked, that means you haven't been fully living up to your own truth to say what you need to say. Because the ones who are continually out there still promoting the love and the light and the wanting people to ignite their beautiful blue flame, they haven't stopped. They haven't stopped. And they've found different ways, if they have been blocked, to get their word still out there. And that is where it is. If you feel like you're blocked somewhere, or your throat chakra is blocked and your third eye is blocked or whatever, this is where it's like, I feel like you really have to sit now in that conversation with God and sit and listen, because you aren't fully listening. You're only going out there half-assed for whatever reason. It could be for the glory of being a light worker, or you think it's glorified, but it's not. I don't think a light worker, to be a light worker is not a glorification of anything. To be a light worker is that one to help others to lighten. And it's not one to go out there to say, oh, I got 1 million views, or I got 100,000 views, I must be the be all end all. No, you're just not necessarily. Not necessarily. It's about being out there and being true to who you are, and also allowing yourself to be vulnerable and be open. That's the huge key. And sometimes that's very hard, because you don't want to be vulnerable. You don't want to be open because you're afraid of somebody pointing a finger at you, condemning you, pushing you down. And this is where I feel like, even for myself, it's like this next step I'm taking in my life is huge vulnerability for me. It's a part of myself, or part of my being, that I really never wanted exposed, but I know has to happen and has to change in my own world. And I'm not one to like wait till it all happens and then tell you about it, which is probably the best way to promote something. I'll tell you, like, I'm starting this. This is what we're doing. I'm in the mud right now. Come join me in my mud pie and in my mud bath. This is what I'm going to be going through. But that's why I love to have, and the word full disclosure comes out. I want to be there, and I want to be transparent for people, because I want to be as honest and real to you, so that you know that you can accept whatever's happening in your life, and taking those steps and saying, okay, shit can happen, but we can make changes with that, and we can allow for that light to happen. And I feel like right now, this energy is there for us. It's coming in for us. It's allowing for us to open up and give us that full transparency within our lives. Not everybody's there, though. So we got to honor that too. Not everybody's there, and that is okay. And we got to allow for that. We got to allow for that, right? And it can be frustrating. So everyone, I know I didn't play music or anything today. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow. But this is us coming together with our unity. I consider you all my soul tribe, my soul family, and I working with Ashley right now, and creating this new piece of my business is interesting, because she asks people, how do you know Mary? How do you guys, and it's funny, it's like sometimes I'm not even sure how I met people. Like I can't remember when I've met certain people or where I've met them. All I know is that they're a part of my tribe. And as a tribe, some go, some new ones come in. So it is like this beautiful creation, this beautiful little oasis of energy that we connect on. And some of you who follow me, some of you have followed me for a long time. Some of you have stuck with me. Others have come in and gone, which is, and gone upon their own and created their own other soul little tribes, their own little pods, and that's where I find for all of us, it's like you're a part of this tribe that I've always wanted to create. And even though that sometimes there's only 5 people that come in. Sometimes there's only one person that comes in on my scope. Sometimes there's more. Like it's, but that's fine. It's coming in, and it's coming in when you need to, and hearing this message when you need to hear it. So sending you out today with so much love, and allowing for that love and that light to shine and to ignite what it is true for you, igniting that essence, that flame. And if you think about it, the blue flame, when you know a blue flame, you can't really see the blue flame until you turn the lights out, and then it glows even brighter. So ignite that energy, and allow for yourself to be your own blue flame. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I'm glad I found that that wording, and I'm going to say thank you to Jen for bringing that up and creating it. So sending you out with so much love. May the Lord and the Lady watch over and bless you in all that you do and all that you say and all that you be. Blessed be everybody. Be safe this weekend. It is a long weekend here in Canada. I know next week is Memorial Weekend in the United States. So go out, enjoy. I know a lot of things are still closed, but I know a lot of people are wanting to get out in some way and get to the parks. But here's I know I'm supposed to be going off right now, but honor other people. Honor other people. And what I mean by that is that you might not be afraid of what's going on out there. You might not have any issues without what's going on out there, but others might. And you got to honor that. And sometimes it's kind of weird, but if you're going somewhere and it says that you have to wear a mask in this area, honor the people that are there working. Okay? That's their environment. Honor them. If that's what they need to feel safe and to do the job, because they are there for you to come in. So honor that. Okay? And that is so, so important, because there's a lot of people out there that still have a lot of anxiety, and we got to honor this. And that's how we come together and bring in greatness. Blessings, everybody. May the Lord and Lady watch over and bless each and every one of you and all that you do and all that you say and all that you be. And it's happy hour tonight at 6 p.m. I'll be posting the Zoom link for everybody. So join me tonight at 6 for happy hour. Blessings.